Now we will have another keynote presentation by Dr. Sreeradha Datta, Professor International Affairs, OP Jindal Global University, on the political implications of India-Bangladesh relations from Liberation War to July Uprising.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a busy room, I know, but I just want to convey my gratitude to Daira for this conference and for this invitation. But first of all, before I talk about the political implications of India and Bangladesh relations from liberation war to uprising, I just want to register my deep note of respect and admiration for the youth which led the movement, all those who got behind them in that movement, and especially the many sacrifices of the youth that also happened. I think it wouldn't have been possible without the joint effort. On that note, if I'm going to discuss India and Bangladesh just now, I think it's quite clear to anybody who watches the bilateral relation that I can simply say that India and Bangladesh are in the sleep mode just now. There hasn't been much activity, and we are aware of that. So how do I see this going? I think there is a bit of clarity about the fact that I think India will not make any particular move at this point of time, and they are waiting for elections to happen. Now, having heard the sessions from morning till the last session, I'm aware of the fact that there is still somewhat debate and controversies about the elections to happen, but I'm absolutely convinced and sure that there will be parliamentary elections in Bangladesh, while there has been a roadmap that has been announced yesterday about February elections, but I do look forward to that. Having watched the last 1 year very closely, I have seen the amount of media disinformation that has taken place, both in India as well as in Bangladesh. And I think there has been an extremely entrenched hatred for India at this point of time for the last so many months. And there has been an equal amount of suspicion about the interim government, about the new political system, about the new political party in India too. So there is a mutual kind of animosity which has been quite evident, and I don't think I have to get into the details. But, and I've always been an academic optimist, so if I can go just beyond that, I will probably say that this particular occurrence of history in Bangladesh actually gives India and Bangladesh a time to reset their relationship. Why do I say that? For very long, we've seen how the whole factor of regime compatibility has worked. And this is not new. This is not just from 2009 January. This is something that India goes back with Bangladesh from 1971. But while, again, I think it's very known to everybody as to why India has worked so closely with Sheikh Hasina and Awami League. There is I'm no historian, and I'm not going to get into the details of history about the liberation war. But I think what we really need to do, keeping the liberation war as a base to the present times, is look at the lessons of history. What are the lessons of history? That we have to learn to trust each other. As academics, as scholars, as policymakers, we often talk about the word called trust deficit. Now, the trust deficit is actually a double whammy because it works both ways. Just like India, and I recall right from 1972 and 73, when India had reservations about some of the developments that were taking place in Bangladesh, equally, Bangladesh, and I'm aware of the group which was not in favor of India's role in the liberation war and subsequent developments, how they have worked very diligently to kind of, put India in a particular category. So that was happening on both sides. Of course, I think the relationship took a completely different turn from the time of 2009 January election. we have seen that for obvious reasons again, and I think the first and primary factor about bilateral relation is that two can work together only when both of them are keeping their national interest in place. Now, so far as India is concerned, once Sheikh Hasina came to power, she dismantled many of the Indian insurgent camps that used to occur in Bangladesh. She opened up the Chittagong Harms Hall case all over again and clearly set the tone and tenor for India to respond and reciprocate, which it did, not only with the, beginning with the $1 billion credit, but subsequently that went up to 7.8. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that the entire tranche of 7.8 did not come to Bangladesh, but at the same time, the kind of cross-border facilities that were developed, the kind of development projects that were done together was unprecedented. Nowhere in the past has India and Bangladesh worked so closely. And let me go back to the very close past, which is 2001 and 2006. And I think this is where the problem lies, and I have been part of, Bangladesh has been kind of a core area of my study, so I've been in and out of this country almost every few months. This was one phase in 2001 and 2006 that India and Bangladesh, and I was part of 4 bilateral dialogues that were simultaneously taking place, and we were trying to see what are the projects that we could work on, which also included the Tata Energy deal at that point of time. And all of you are aware of the fact that nothing, absolutely nothing constructive happened at that point of phase, which is one level of acceptance. But more importantly, India faced the worst security threat during that time. There were terror blasts, which was originated, and I think I don't want to argue the case here, but naturally there was a very clear transformation of bilateral relationship post that. Now, the problem has been that Bangladesh, on the other hand, feels that while Sheikh Hasina addressed the concerns very deeply and certainly very robustly, India did not respond to Bangladesh's core concern. Now, there is no doubt about the fact, and I've said this many times over, for Bangladesh, the most emotive element is water sharing. And of course, there are issues of trade, and there are issues of borders, and there are many other issues. Now, one of the main problems that Bangladesh had vis-a-vis India was the lack of border demarcation, which, as you know, was successfully done in 2015. And that happened because India and Bangladesh jointly worked on that. It would not have been possible through a one-sided engagement. Subsequently, we know that, the very breakthrough agreement that took place between India and Bangladesh was 2010. The 2010 agreement was all about transforming the bilateral landscape. We talked about a basin-wise river management project, and I'm aware of the fact nothing of the sort took place. The Teesta Water Management Treaty has been up in the air for various reasons, and we know, of course, so far as India is concerned, it's all about federal politics. But again, let's come down to the fact that it's not so much about the federal politics, but also a lack of, intention on both sides. Now, we keep talking about this Cusick flows constantly. In today's world, and when the partnership is so strong, it is quite possible that we go beyond the flows and we discuss the requirements of water, which we did not do. We, of course, know very early in 2024, when Bangladesh had agreed to China doing the Teesta Management Water project that India put her foot down, and as we speak today, the project still is at standstill. Now, the question for us at this point of time is, of course, India went into a shock post Sheikh Hasina's dismissal on 5th of August. Subsequently, the way I look forward, and I'm going to, this is now an interregnum period, so I presume, again, I will talk about the election. There are the 2 things that India and Bangladesh can start doing by resetting the relationship is to talk honestly with each other, which is something we have not done in the last 50 years. It was always about, what I want and what you want, never about the mutual reciprocity of things that could be addressed. I know about border killings, I know about all the other problems, but again, I don't think there's anything that can't be addressed when 2 sides get together. clearly, under the circumstances that India was working so closely with Hasina, and I do understand the animosity and the hatred about, what Sheikh Hasina has done, what Awami League has done, and also, I mean, it is a kind of a fallout factor that given New Delhi's very, very close association with Awami League, the fallout was bound to happen. I just want to close here when everybody's showing me the 2-minute sign here is that irrespective of the kind of sleep mode that the two neighbors are in just now, and I know that it's not due to Bangladesh's lack of initiative, but it is because India, wants to stay aloof, stay away, is because of the fact that India is not aware how will India's national interests be addressed in the post-Hasina era. And I think, let nobody in this room make a mistake about the fact that Bangladesh is an extremely important neighbor to India. While we talk to, we are doing a lot of SU and BRICS meeting just now, we all know about the Trump factor here, but if in the region there's some neighbor that we can truly have put our entire faith and sensibilities on, that's Bangladesh. And that is something we need to work on, but it can only happen when Bangladesh lets go of the past history, forgets that, you have done this and you have not done that kind of thing. And there is an honest effort from both sides, because I do believe in the region, the two sides can work together. We keep talking about the fact that South Asia is the least integrated region in the world, right? That can only get addressed. The kind of economic potential that lies in the region can only be tapped only when India and Bangladesh work together. But it can only happen when both of them are honest with each other, convey the intentions that they want to work without the history baggage. I think while we learn the lessons of history, and we've seen many instances when there's been many initiatives, many projects, and a non-Awami government in Bangladesh has not allowed that to happen. And we've also seen how, irrespective of which government it is in Delhi, we've all worked with Bangladesh because it's extremely important and core to us. So let's not make a mistake, despite the fact that right now India, I call India the indifferent neighbor at this point of time. But I'm absolutely convinced and fully put my faith on the fact that once election takes place, and I do that, that's a caveat. I don't think India is going to move anywhere with Bangladesh till elections, multi-party, pluralistic election takes place, that India and Bangladesh will reset ties. And I can promise you what India and Bangladesh shared in the last 15 years will be a shadow of what India can now actually achieve with Bangladesh, because you will have lost your emotive content. All of this while it was the historical baggage of Awami and Sheikh Hasina. I think we need to move out of the fact and look at issue base and see the kind of potential that needs to be tapped, but that can only happen with a honest and frank conversation, which is something that two neighbors have very rarely done. I'm going to close here before they send me the last note out, but despite the fact that we are standing at a point of history where it doesn't look very upbeat, but I can promise you that from India's side, there will be absolutely no way that India will not give out the entire, support and system to ensure that the bilateral relation achieve the kind of potential that it actually has. Thank you very much.